Top of the morning to you right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. This is Dominion Sports. Thank God it's Friday edition right here. We'll be looking at the stories from the local front. The NPFL match day 11 is upon us. We'll be taking a dive into some of the major fixtures right there in the NPFL. Also, you definitely know that we'll be talking about our darling Shooting Stars Club right there this Friday morning. Also, we'll be taking a dive straight into the camp of the Super Eagles. Eric Shells has said that some players were injured and would not be part of the game against Gabon. Also, we'll be taking a dive straight into the Premier League fixtures for this weekend. We'll also be looking at the basketball where the games happened in the early hours of this morning. All this and more on the show. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, and I'm not alone in the studio. You definitely know I have the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted report. They call him the official captain, but I'm definitely going to call him Samson Balogun. Good morning to you. How are you feeling this wonderful morning?
Well, top of the morning to you, Tolu. It's really nice to be here to talk sports. As we know, this is where we bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reports. So, thank you for joining us on the show this morning. It's going to be a very interesting one. It's the weekend. Yes, weekend for actions. Yeah. And most definitely weekdays are for reactions, especially Mondays. So, there's a lot to unpack on the show this morning. Sit back and relax. Fasten your seatbelt.
Yeah, fasten your seatbelt. Okay, Samson, now I'm fastening my seatbelt right now. Let me ask you, what's it looking like on your plane for us this weekend? Because you're the pilot for your weekend and you have access to fasten the seatbelt. So what's it looking like for your weekend, going into this week?
Well, a lot of interesting actions, I expected over the weekend. Yes, the NPFL is back. And, just during the week, we saw Rivers United, playing their outstanding game. Yes, it ended in a nil. They couldn't get, all 3 points. Yes, what will the league table look like at the end of, the match day tomorrow and next tomorrow? So that's one big thing, because the teams on the log, they are way too close. We saw Remo Stars at 17th. I mean,
they have 3 games outstanding.
Three games outstanding. If they win
all
those 3 games, that takes them to at least second on the log. That's at least second on the log. And if they score enough goals, they might just be at the top of the table. So it's not even certain you can win all 3 games. So a win, a loss, a draw can shape and reshape what the league looks like. So let's see what will happen over the weekend and see who retains top spot on the log and who gets to be dragged back down.
All right, we're already on the altitude, moving straight into the NPFL. Let's look at the fixtures coming up on Saturday as we analyze that on the show this wonderful morning. There you have on the screen. Bendel Insurance are going to welcome Warri Wolves. Kwara United are going to play to Remo Stars, and we have Rivers United playing to the top of the table, Nasarawa United. This is going to be a big game on Saturday. But let's start off with Bendel Insurance and Warri Wolves. Samson Balogun, what are your expectations for this game? Bendel Insurance are a little bit struggling this season, even with the emergence of a new coach in their ranks. Also, Kwara United are welcoming Remo Stars already. They're going to play in that new stadium that we talked about yesterday, and we're going to have Rivers United against Nasarawa United.
Well, if you look at Bendel Insurance, the level of inconsistency they have had this season is second to none in the NPFL. They started off as a team that might likely be serious with their title credentials this season, but unfortunately they faltered along the line. They missed some points, and they drew some games which were unnecessary. They lost some games which they could have actually gotten at least 1 point. I mean, it was too much of near misses for Bendel Insurance this season. And Warri Wolves, when you look at their away form and compared to their home form, they have been a little bit edgy when it comes to what they do away from home. Let's see if they can actually do that. You see, the NPFL is one dicey league you can't really predict. But the truth of the matter is, I still think Warri Wolves have better credentials against Bendel Insurance. So it might just be Bendel Insurance losing at home against Warri Wolves. So all right. Regardless, let's see what happens. Kwara United playing at the brand new stadium. I mean, 2 billion naira renovated stadium.
I tried not to mention that amount
against Remo Stars. I mean, one of the things that that really helps a team is that when you have new facilities, spurs the player to actually do better. Really. Yeah, and the Kwara Township Stadium is has gotten a facelift, and it has been upgraded one way or the other. Watermore Stars are struggling. They are way down there, 17th on the log, even below some teams that you expect to actually be below Remo Stars. But then that's not the question. Would they, now that they have crashed out of the CAF Champions League, will they concentrate 100% on the league and then finish strong come the end of the season? This is the time to test their credentials. So against Kwara United, that is also struggling, they both went for the continent, and the Kwara played the CAF Confederations Cup. Remo Stars played the CAF Champions League. They both crashed out, though at different stages. And Kwara United, played against Asante Kotoko in their first preliminary game. They crashed out. For Remo Stars, they went ahead to play the next game against Mamelodi Sundowns. Yes, we all knew Mamelodi Sundowns was, a bigger shoe for them to fit in. Yeah. But you see, football is not usually judged on what will happen on paper. Sometimes you just go to the field and see what exactly you can bring to the table. Unfortunately, they were unable to match up to Mamelodi Sundowns. Lost 5-1 at home. They were able to reduce the deficit a little bit, even though they did not score. But at least they did not get whitewashed the way they were. That was done to them at home. So 2-0, they tended away from home. 7-1 on aggregate. That alone is demoralizing enough for Remo Stars as we speak. It's not really a morale booster you are looking for. But the truth is, as a champion, you have to dig deep, find the energy, find that synergy within the team, and just grind out results regardless of how difficult it might be. And it's going to be a really difficult one against Kwara United. But I'm still seeing that Remo Stars have nothing to lose at this time. They have 100% concentration on the league, and nothing stops them from winning away from home, regardless of if they are playing at the 2 billion stadium or not. So I see Remo Stars coming out victorious in this one. And Rivers United, National United,
top of the table.
Top of the table. And Rivers United too, they have struggled. Yes, now that they are done with the preliminary stage of the CAF Champions League, they can now focus a little bit on the league. NPFL, and unfortunately for them, they will be playing against the league leaders, National United. National United, they have also played a few sketchy and not too good away games this season. But playing against Rivers United, who have title credentials themselves, that will be a difficult test for National United. But I can say for a fact that Rivers United will not give in that easily. They are most definitely going to, put up a fight. Now that we expect some of their players who did not play during the midweek to come back into the fray and then, strengthen the team a little bit more. But if they could get a draw during the week with the weaker team, how much more of if their main team is back and at least the defeated Black Bulls 3-1. They can do the same thing to National United. So National United, for me, they are not going to get the maximum 3 points away to Rivers United. But Rivers might likely win, but the worst will be a draw between these two teams.
All right, I'm just looking at the away games for
National United. One more thing I noticed is that I think the scheduling of the NPFL should be adjusted.
I want to talk about that.
Rivers United played during the week. Nothing stops you from shifting that particular game to Sunday. Give them one more day to rest. Now, National United is more rested than Rivers United.
Way rested.
And, that might just be one of the deciding factors.
I agree with that. All right, let's take a dive into the game on Sunday. And also, Shooting Stars have to post that this is also a rescheduled game for them on Sunday. But let's take a dive into the games on Sunday in the NPFL that you have on the screen. Fantastic games are coming up also on Sunday. Barao are going to welcome Wiki Tourist. Bayelsa United are going to welcome Plateau United. El Kaneme are going to welcome Rangers International. Eyimba against Canopilas, a big game for this weekend, and it's not looking too good for Canopilas yet again. Ikorodu City against Kun Khalifa. We have Niger Tornadoes against Abia Warriors, and we have our darling Shooting Stars against Katsina United. Before we talk about Shooting Stars, Samson Balogun on Sunday looks a bit interesting already. Look at the fixtures. But for you, what game are you looking forward to? For me, I'm going to pick Ikorodu City against Kun Khalifa and also Eyimba against Canopilas.
Well, these are interesting games, actually. They're interesting games, but if you look at the current situation, Abia Warriors, they have title credentials. They are second on the log as we speak, behind Masara United. So They're playing against Niger Tornadoes in Niger State. Yes, the altitude is high. You know, most teams that goes to
That's a big game. Niger
to
Tornadoes are third on the table too.
They are third on the table, so it's going to be a very big game.
Yeah.
So there's a point between these two teams.
Yeah,
this is the time for the league is testing the title credentials of most of these teams. Abia Warriors, you know, when they were meant to cement their place on the top of the table, they came to Ibadan, lost to Shooting Stars, and you know, it's not been so rosy for them away from home too. Not like they've had smooth sail, but playing against Niger Tornadoes that also has title credentials. Until they play 20-30 games, you might not really say who is going to win the title in the NPFL. But the truth of the matter is some teams are shaping up, you know, at the top of the log already, and it is most likely going to be a top 5 finish for some of these teams. Abia Warriors, Niger Tornadoes, they have been, you know, they have maintained the level of consistency on the top of the table, at least in the top 8 or top 9 since the season started. So I want to believe that there's a chance that Niger Tornadoes might just edge Abia Warriors. But then would there be another problem for the coach, who has been given some, you know, ultimatum to actually turn things around, because they really want to win the league title. And the fact that they started very well, they started off the block, firing on all cylinders, and the expectation is very high in Abia State as we speak. They want them to win the title. Will the governor still continue with this ultimatum for the coach? Well, it is left to be seen, but the truth is, I don't think Abia Warriors will get all 3 points against Niger Tornadoes.
All right, you know, as you're speaking, I was just looking at the table and trying to analyze as you're speaking. For me, it's looking interesting because you look at Abia Warriors 18 points, you look at Niger Tornadoes 17, Warri Wolves also 17, Ikorodu sitting next with 15, and that's just the way you've analyzed it, saying it's just 1 point.
It just takes you a loss, a draw for you to lose your position on the log, and you might not even stay, you might not stop, you know, 3, 4, 5 positions from where you were. You might just go about 5, 6, 7, 8 positions down, because they are so close. And it's really disheartening to see that all the teams in the NPFL, they are going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that they win on their home turf. And then what happens when you travel?
Go away.
So that's why we are having, you know, I'm not saying all teams should not put in their best shift, but if you are putting in your best shift, do that away from home too. Don't just slump to defeat, unnecessary defeat away from home. Outside an instance, Shooting Stars, they had 5 games unbeaten run, won 4 of those, drew just 1. And then they traveled to a Wiki Tourist, a struggling Wiki Tourist, and they lost 2 goals to nothing. In fact, it was that Wiki Tourist lost, you know, they could not convert their chances. It could have been more than that.
More than goals,
so that's one thing that scares me about the title credentials of some of these teams in the NPFL. So you don't want to win at home at all costs and then go away from home and then lose scandalously, or maybe just play abysmal football. We don't want to see that in the NPFL. Let's tighten the grip on the quality of football we play in the NPFL. That would make it a lot better.
I agree. All right. Also, let's talk about the game between Eyimba and Kano Pillars. For you, 2
struggling teams. It might seem a little bit better for Eyimba because at the beginning of the season they were able to gather a few points, stayed unbeaten for 8 games, I think, and then before it finally dawned on them that it's not really. You see, I think I said something last week about the fact that, you know, as a struggling team, when you are losing, you know exactly where to start to restructure. But when you are drawing games, you think you are okay, but you are not. You are not, in the real sense of it, you are losing 2 points. You are not okay. And it is until you check your position on the log and how many games you have played that you realize the fact that 3 games now amounts to just 1 game for you.
That's true.
Because within those 3 games that you have drawn, you have just 3 points out of possible 9. So you have lost 6 points. You are not really doing yourself a favor. Now imagine if you actually lost 2 games and won 1. That means you are still on the same level with a team that has drawn 3 games. So it's just better for you to actually win and at best just lose. Because 1 point is also okay, because you know, sometimes it might just come down to just 1 point. But the truth of the matter is, when you are a struggling team, if you keep drawing games, you won't really know how bad you are doing until you check yourself on the log. It happened to Ikorodu City when they started this new season. Ikorodu City started drawing some games. And then they thought they were doing fine until they realized the fact that they were just a mid-table team and a team that finished so strong last season. So now they are beginning to get it right. They are winning games intermittently. They are getting 3 points, but it's not really that steady like it did last season. But then the structure of the league is taking shape. But it's taking shape in a way that you can't really predict who's by the end of match week 10, 11, you don't even know which team is going to be in the top 4, top 5, because just 1 point, 2 points can actually take you away from where you were just last week and then take you to a whole new different
level.
Now you can tell the situation of things for a team like Kano Pillars as we speak. There was a time where just checking the log and we had a discussion, oh, if they win their 2 outstanding games, they will probably be 2nd or 3rd on the log. And look at where they are now. So it's really a sad one for Kano Pillars, and they are playing against a Yimba that's also struggling. And the coach has an ultimatum, and that's Evans Ogeyi, to actually win in the next 2 games, get all maximum 3 points, or you lose your job. Wow. That means Kano Pillars might just be another whipping boys at the end of the week. But the truth is, hey, it started on the wrong note. I mean, they started on the wrong foot. Gambo Mohammed has been seconded to be the head coach at this time. Does he have the title? Does he have the credentials to be the head coach of a team like Kano Pillars? I do not think so. Is it the solution to the problem? I don't think so. And will he bring any form of change to the team? We saw what happened in the last game. I do not think so. But the truth of the matter is, you really have to make some changes. And when it comes to making decisions on a fire brigade approach basis, that is what you get, right? Nothing stops them from, retaining an assistant in that team. And then look outward for a coach, a qualified coach. We had a discussion and we said, even Gwega Ogunbote, as we speak, does not have a job. Why not call on Gwega Ogunbote? He's the oracle of the NPFL. People know him for that. He comes in, turns things around. Yes, before Kennedy Boboye was snapped up by another team in the NPFL, you could have spoken to Kennedy Boboye. But why wait till so long? And the result was not favoring. 10 games is enough to judge. Even in the EPL this season, a coach has been asked. So it tells you how serious people take.
It's not just one, like we cover several of them.
So it's more or less like a situation where some teams are really getting it wrong. Yes, we might be getting it wrong in some areas, but if it is not 100%, it's not making sense.
It's nothing. All right, let's move away from that. Let's discuss. Before that, let me ask your predictions for the weekend. Quickly, if you can have it on the screen. What are your predictions for this weekend, these games? If you can just have it displayed on the screen. All right, Brendan Insurance against Warri Wolves.
Well, I think Warri Wolves will get a draw from home.
All right, Kwara United against Remo Stars.
Remo Stars will win by 0-2.
Rivers United against Nasarawa United.
It's going to end in a stalemate between these two. A score draw.
All right, Barao against Wiki Tourist.
Wiki Tourist deal so well against Shooting Stars. Will they be able to transfer that away to Barao? I don't think so, because they are both in the north and the altitude is high. And I see Barao winning against Wiki Tourist.
All right, Bayelsa United against Plateau United.
Two struggling teams, actually. Bayelsa United started well. They came to Ibadan. They got, a victory, 1-0. And people, there was too much expectation because they won in Ibadan. So people thought they were going to actually continue like that. Unfortunately for them, they could not. But one thing people did not take into consideration with that victory against Shooting Stars was because the coach took the job 1 month to the new season, recruited brand new players. So about 20 or 25% of the players in the team are actually players who were already in the team before. The rest were players who just came on board. So it was just trying to see what would happen, and then boom, Bayelsa United came and they lost. So the expectation was heaped on Bayelsa United to actually do more. Unfortunately, they could not actually translate that victory against Shooting Stars into back-to-back victories or consistent results in the league. So it became a problem. Even Plateau United so far this season with quality players like Monday Gideon that left Shooting Stars, they have still struggled. So will they be able to get a result against Bayelsa United? I think it's going to end in a draw between those two teams.
Warriors against Rangers International for you?
Well, Rangers will be traveling far away from home, playing against Academy Warriors in Maiduguri. So it's going to be a really difficult test for Rangers United, especially with high altitude right there. I think Academy Warriors is going to edge them by just a long goal.
A long goal, Eyimba against Kano Pillars for you?
It should be a victory for Kano Pillars. Eyimba is under pressure. Yes, they have not been too bad this season, but then with the quality of team they parade, with the name they parade, Eyimba, I mean, one of the biggest teams in Africa. I mean, you don't expect them to be where they are now. And if you still talk about the history of the CAF Champions League, you can't talk about that without mentioning Eyimba Football Club of Aba. So that for me is one of the loads on their shoulder to carry. So I think Eyimba will hedge Canopilas. I mean, two struggling teams, but one is way better than the other.
All right, Ikorodu City against Kun Khalifa.
A very big test for Ikorodu City playing at home. Most people would have thought, would be saying that Kun Khalifa to come to Lagos and put on a very stiff competition against Ikorodu City. But if you look at their recent result at home, it has suddenly surged. So I see them hedging Kun Khalifat.
Okay.
Might be 2 goals to 1.
2 goals to 1. All right. Niger Tornadoes against Abia Warriors, a big game.
A very big game. Yeah. A very big game. Niger Tornadoes is definitely going to win this one against Abia Warriors.
Amazing.
Why? Because Abia Warriors, they have struggled away from home this season. Yes, they are second on the log. Niger Tornadoes third, just 1 point separating these two teams. But I think Niger Tornadoes needs this more than Abia Warriors.
All right. Now let's talk about Shooting Stars against Katsina United. That's a big game already this weekend by 4 p.m. right there at the Lakon Salami Stadium. It's going to be an amazing feat to see that game. The players are gearing up, and they are getting ready after the defeat to Wiki Tourist. This is a must-win game and to put them back, fighting for the title if that is the aim for them this season. But they're going to welcome Katsina United. Let's look at, what's looking like for this team ahead of this game right there. There you have it on the screen. If you can have that displayed quickly, you have it. Wiki Tourist, they lost that one away from home at 2 goals to 0, but it has been a good form, for Shooting Stars.
Last 5, 1, 3, 3-1,
lost one. Let's look at, Katsina United also, as we analyze that one. Also, Katsina United won their last game against El Academy Warriors. They lost to Kwara United. Also, they won to Remo Stad, fantastic victory. And also, away from home has been a major struggle for them. Also, if you look at the last 5 games for them. Let's look at the head-to-head, battle with these teams. Katsina United picking up the victory on their home turf last season. Shooting Stars also picking up a victory from their home turf also. So it's looking, look at the the table for both teams, and when you look at the head-to-head, it looks like it's still tilted to favor more for Katsina United. But we cannot, we might be able to use that as a yardsticks, for the analysis this morning. But something about the Guyana experts, when it comes to the NPFL. For you, what are your expectations for this game for Coach Rudy Nawero? Look at the head-to-head start for these teams, and also for the coach of Katsina United, what's his plan coming into this game against Shooting Stars?
Well, you see, a team like Katsina United, struggling away from home. The first thing the coach will be thinking about is how do we get at least 1 point away from home.
Funny how something about it, they're sitting both on the same point.
Right.
So Shooting Stars is 6th, Katsina United is 7th, 15.
Right. Yeah, and the problem is Shooting Stars, save for the fact that they lost at home to Bayelsa United, they have gotten a few points away from home.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they hedge Katsina United a little bit.
Really?
But with the current situation, and the current form for Shooting Stars is a little bit better than that of Katsina United. So that also plays a part in what it will look like in the game against Katsina United on Sunday. But if you look at the arrangement and how many games these teams have won against each other, Katsina United has the edge when it comes to head-to-head.
Yeah, agree.
But when it comes to current form, it is Shooting Stars. And another advantage for Shooting Stars is the fact that some of their players who are injured, they are back from injury. They have the team intact as we speak. Mustafa Lawal Spider is available. Kabir Tijani available. Ayobami Jr., Ismail Ayodele, Promise Awosomi, and a host of other players. They are intact, especially in the defense line. And an improvement we have seen in the defense line should be displayed against Katsina United. I mean, no margin for error. And when a defender moves forward, the DM comes back and slots in perfectly until he comes back. So there should be someone that plays a particular position in the absence of the placeholder. So I think they are already working on that, because when the season started, you would see that, when a player overlaps or goes forward to defend, there's no one to actually help out in that area. Yeah. But I think it is getting better in that team. And then, if you look at how Shooting Stars play this season, they have also struggled to score some goals, especially when it matters. And look at what they did in their last 2 home games. You would be thinking, as much as you are having all the possession and you are creating good chances, convert these chances. And that is where the area of who are the players up front. What are they bringing to the table? I could remember a few home games, I think about 2 or 3 of them, maybe 2, where Ismail Ayodele, Sadiq Ibrahim, and then Promise Awosome started up front. They were able to score a few more goals than what we currently see with Abe as the third man in attack, with Promise Awosome and Sadiq Ibrahim. The reason is when Abe is a very useful player when it comes to retaining possession. Because what he does for you, he comes back to be the fourth man in midfield. And then when it is time to attack, he goes wide and plays on the left. But that is what Ibrahim Ayodele doesn't bring to the team. Ismail Ayodele doesn't bring to the team. He's a forward, and when he gets the ball, he attacks, and then you always know he's on the field of play. His dazzling and mesmerizing skills will always stand out. But then when it comes to defending, it might not really be up and doing. So that's the difference between himself. But if he's there and the team is actually the one playing, they have possession, they have the ball, you can be rest assured that something will definitely happen. Even as a substitute this season, we have seen what he has been able to bring to the table. So he's a fantastic player, and I do hope that against a team like Katsina United, the coach should be able to bring out his best 11. You are playing at home, your best 11 should be on the field of play, regardless of the situation. Keep the ball.
Keep the ball, I agree.
Keep the ball. It's very important. Don't be forced to play long balls, because that is exactly what Plateau United did to Shooting Stars. That is exactly what Ikorodu City did to Shooting Stars. And when they come to Ibadan, they don't play this way. When they play at home, they also keep the ball. So when they come here, they want to frustrate you to play a different pattern. So by the time you are carried away, they start playing your own pattern on your own turf, and then you are already out of the game. So I think the coach should stick to the plan, keep the ball down. Then your training drills must be evident in what you play. Triangulating one player, creating a position of advantage for another player to release passes. So that actually helps you. Look at what happened. Their last home game, when the first goal against Okemote Order, it was more or less like they passed the ball into the net, because the training drills was evident. It was just from one person to the other until Aribami just had to tap home. So when you create that situation, if you are not scoring by yourself, you are putting the defenders in a situation where they might have to score an own goal. So put the ball right in their box, pass the ball into their box, and then when you have an opportunity to cross the ball in, you have a few players there who can actually represent. So make sure that per time you know what to do and not place the cart before the horse. I mean, you can imagine when it is just one player in the box and then you are crossing the ball in. I mean, to who exactly? But then if you have a multitude of players in the box, all you have to do is to put the ball in there. Someone somewhere will actually, make something happen. So I think that's the approach the coach should use. All
right. So let me ask you for the tactics that you think, Katsina United coach and the players will be coming with, at the Lagos Salami Stadium. Do you think, they also have this mindset that if we're able to pick up all 3 points, we are ahead of Shooting Stars on the log of the table?
Well, I think that when coming to Ibadan, they know that with all 3 points, they will be steps ahead of Shooting Stars on the log, 3 points ahead, and then that puts them in a fantastic situation on the log, and they will definitely come out to attack, because they have nothing to lose. They are playing against the immediate team ahead of them on the log. So that means that they have to put everything on the line. Everything on the line. But Shooting Stars, we have to be a little bit cautious. Keep the ball, pass the ball around. Let them run a little bit. When they get tired and they begin to settle in, then you begin to penetrate. It's quite as simple as that. But then if you give the ball away and let them play, you'll be the one to run. And when you get tired, they begin to strike. So it's just like a guy we say on social media, tactics in Igbo Kini. It's about tactics. So the coach has capacity over tactics. How do you want to set up? Are we playing 4 at the back? Are we playing 3 in midfield? Are we playing 3 in attack? Are we playing 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, and then 2? So it depends on what they want to play. That's the ability of the coach to say, when you have the ball, you do this, you do that. The coach can do that. But he does not have ability or capacity over technique. The technique actually belongs to the players. So how you operate when you receive the ball, how you open up, how you turn and give the ball to the nearest person, or maybe you choose the long ball, is purely the responsibility of the player on the field of play. Now, you can be a spectator and wish, we should have done this or done that. But remember that it's about instinct. What comes to you first is what you do on the field of play. So I think the coach should set out and strictly instruct the players, when you start the game, just keep the ball, regardless of if you are the one, you know, on the other hand of, the blast of the whistle. But the truth is, immediately the game starts, just keep the ball. Then let them run a little bit. The moment you start settling in, then you can begin to hit them on their counter.
All right, that's the update coming through from the camp of Shooting Stars. Samson Balogun is an expert when it comes to analyzing football, and he's going to do justice to that. And there you have it. Make sure you are supporting Shooting Stars ahead of this game at the Lakers Sanami Stadium by 4 p.m. We're going to be live there to cover the game and also give you an update on Monday. And make sure you're raising the banner and make sure you're supporting your darling club, Shooting Stars. There you have the screen, fantastic graphics right there. And top notch. You know, I finally saw the handler, you know, for the graphics for this month, and it's just fantastic. It got so many comments right there on X. The interactions popped up to 24K. You know, people love the fact that he was being creative. And right there, creativity is top notch. But we want to see, all 3 points on the pitch. That's what we're expecting right there. All right, let's move away from the story of Shooting Stars and let's take stories from the camp of the Super Eagles. As Eric Shields has said, that Samuel Chukwueze and 5 others are doubtful for the game against the Gabon. Chukwueze doubtful as 5 Super Eagles ruled out ahead of the World Cup playoffs. Super Eagles head coach Eric Shields has confirmed that 5 key players will miss Nigeria's crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying playoff in Morocco, while Samuel Chukwueze remains a major doubt due to injury. Nigeria will face Gabon on the 13th of November in their opening fixtures at the playoff minis tournament. The winner will meet either Cameroon or DR Congo in the final, with the eventual champion advancing to the intercontinental playoffs in March 2026, where 2 World Cup tickets will be decided. Speaking from France, Shields disclosed that Terry Murphy, Felix Aguilar, Cyrus Dessers, and also Fisayo Dele Bashiru have all been out due to various fitness concerns. I know we won't be having at least 5 players. Terry Murphy, Felix Aguilar, Cyrus Dessers, and Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Shields told one of the media team right there in France. We also don't know about Samuel Chukwueze will be available, but we have to find a way to play these games because we want to go to the World Cup. The absence of several established names are present as significant challenges for Super Eagles head coach. Samson Balogun, there you have it. We have some players who are already out already for this World Cup, but it's a must-win game for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Remember, it's just a one game. It's not first leg or second leg. It's a one game. You win it or you don't. And we have some key players already. What's it looking like already for the Super Eagles are ahead of this one? We heard that the camp is going to open up on the 9th of November. The players are gearing up already. They want this ticket. But getting this news, how does it, shape up for the Super Eagles of Nigeria and we, the fans?
Well, as it stands, the coach said they are doubtful, and that still doesn't mean they are totally ruled out. For some of them, might still make the team depending on how fit they are by the time it's time for selection or call up. But obviously, they really need to bring the best legs, and it's not just about the name; it's about the fitness. Can you do the job if you are invited? Will you be on the field of play and give your 100? That's the current situation for the coach right now. And obviously, if you are looking at what the opposition are also bringing to the table, they also have fantastic players. Ekulemanga is one of those fantastic players. Lemina, one of the fantastic midfielders you find anywhere. And most of them, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
You talked about Lemina, fantastic pass to Victor Osimhen in the Turkish league, and I'm like, what?
So you can see what these guys bring to the table. Yes, you might say, oh, just a few of them are known players, but then when a team, it's about the team, not the players.
I agree.
Right? As individuals, you can't win anything. Yeah. But as a team, you can actually win a lot. I want to cite an instance very quickly. I could remember there was a time when Paris Saint-Germain paraded Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Ezekiel Lavezzi, Javier Pastore. They had Thiago Motta. Marquinhos also was part of the team at the time. They had I want to remember Edison Cavani. And then after that, we had another era of Lionel Messi, we had Neymar Jr., Kylian Mbappe. At that time, they didn't win shit, just the league. But then when they all left, and they brought players like Vitinha, these are just young players, João Neves, Nuno Mendes, So look at how young they are. Most of them are relatively unknown.
Yeah.
But then they came together as a team and won the UEFA Champions League. Something, a title that has, eluded Paris Saint-Germain for so many years. So it's just quite easy to say that it's not just about one player. It's about the team. So no matter how poor you might think one player is, when he plays within the circle of players who truly believe in his ability and then trust him to do the job, he's definitely going to do the job. So that's what the team is about. But the team, for the Super Eagles now, all they have to do is to bring the fittest players to the camp. Not the biggest names to the camp. It's totally different.
I agree with that.
It's not a fashion parade now. It's not about parading names or the price tag, but it's about parading players who can actually get the job done. If Chukwueze is not fit, drop him. If Dele Bashiru is not fit, drop him. Bring in more players that can actually do the job. I was checking the profile of a particular player that plays in Italy. I think is a very young player like that and was doing so well. He's starting level at Verona or so. And someone was saying, Nigeria needs another defensive midfielder. Wilfred Ndidi is gradually winning.
Yes,
why not bring this player into the board? And Alassane Yusuf to give him opportunities to play. He played at the AFCON and we saw what he's capable of doing. But unfortunately, because he caused that penalty, since then he has not really gotten. Same thing happened to Sani Keita when he got that red card at. I want to remember this particular World Cup.
At the World Cup, yes. I'm trying to remember the World Cup actually.
And then
yes, you're right.
It was after that he was blacklisted. I mean, we don't do that. Even the whites don't do that. Where we copy, they are always, regardless of what you have done, if you are still a viable and vital member of that team, they bring you on board to do the job. We're still talking about Danny Welbeck recently and said, look, what he's doing for Brighton and Hove Albion, it deserves to be a part of the English national team. Don't be surprised when a list comes out and you find Danny Welbeck there. So these are the things we want to be saying. Invite players based on what they are capable of doing. Invite players based on their level of fitness, not how big the name is, because that is exactly what kills most national teams, when they keep inviting the same set of players because they are the names. It happened to Belgium at a point. They are the biggest names in the world. We could have called that their golden generation. A generation that paraded Eden Hazard, Torgan Hazard, Neja Chadli.
It was called the golden generation for them.
Romelu Lukaku, Vermaelen, Jan Vertonghen. These are quality players. At that time, they had players who can actually compete as the best in their positions around the world at that time. Unfortunately, they could not win anything. Even Mounier was one of them. He was a right back at the time. So they couldn't win anything. But then they kept inviting the same, even Batshuayi, Michy Batshuayi. They kept inviting the same set of players, and then they were losing it. From number one in the world, they kept dropping. Until someone else came and said, look, we cannot keep inviting these players that are not doing too well. That was when the era of Torgan Hazard, Hazard's brother, came on board. They started bringing in young players, Jeremy Doku. They started bringing in young players, and they have been able to revitalize that team to be at least one of the big teams in Europe as we speak. So it's about the capacity of the players, not the name.
All right. We hope that Eric Shells would listen to this, interview from Samson Balogun and also take key note from that. Is the key word is get the players who are ready to do the job, not the big names just putting on the jersey for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We hope for the very best because Nigeria must be at the World Cup after this struggle. Let's move away from that. Let's look at the Premier League this weekend. It's upon us, and I'm sure you're ready and set for what is set to happen in the Premier League this weekend. There you have it on the screen. The fixtures are thick and fast. Brighton of Albion are going to welcome Leeds United, Burnley against Arsenal, Crystal Palace against Brentford. We have Fulham against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Nottingham Forest against Manchester United, Spurs against Chelsea. We have Liverpool against Aston Villa, West Ham against Newcastle on Sunday, Manchester City against Bournemouth, and we have Monday, Sunderland against Everton. Let's look at the big games this weekend, the big teams. Let's start off with Burnley against Arsenal. Samson Balogun, Arsenal fans are quiet all through this season. Despite winning games, they are just quiet, and it looks like it's working for both the team, working for both the fans, and they're taking it process by process.
You see, the noise on social media doesn't win games. I mean, it's just like you wanting to be president and then your campaign ground is on social media. They are two different things.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, when it's time to actually vote, those people who actually vote, 90% of them are not on social media.
Really?
They will come out from their homes and then come and cast the votes. That's exactly the same with this situation now. Whatever it is an Arsenal fan says on social media or the argument he has in a football viewing center, still doesn't change the fact that Arsenal will lose next weekend, right? So it's sometimes it's just fun when fans argue about football, but the real action happens on the field of play. So when they say let's do the talking on the pitch,
yeah.
I mean it's no fallacy. It's the truth. So whatever it is you want to talk about, let your feet, your heads do the job. So that's exactly what Arsenal is doing this season. They have been able to keep their heads low. And it's not just about the fans, it's about the team too. You have had less of them in terms of publicity or anything, but they are doing so much on the field of play. And one of the things they have done successfully this season is the fact that all the teams that gave them issues last season, they have been able to win against them this season, including Crystal Palace. Eberechi got a goal against his former team last weekend. Fantastic goal. But if you check the head-to-head last season, Crystal Palace was one of the teams that gave some of the big teams in the EPL a run for their money, a major problem last season.
Liverpool, they are yet to come out of it this season.
I mean, it's been 3 defeats back-to-back for Liverpool. So it has been a smooth sail for Arsenal against those teams this season. And I don't think Bournemouth will be, Burnley will be a different ball game for Arsenal. It might be a little bit difficult at the start, but the truth is Arsenal is definitely going to win this one against Burnley.
All right, let's look at the game. Nottingham Forest against Manchester United. Manchester United on a big surge of form this season. Away from home, can they do, back to back? They've done it 3 times this season already. This is going to be the 4th one. Can they win their 4th game on the run against Nottingham Forest? Would need to pick up all 3 points this weekend with the new coach.
Well, this will be a stroll in the park for Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. Now, why do I say that?
They struggled against Nottingham Forest last season.
Yes, they did. But then, at the time, the players were not playing to instruction. The style of play the coach actually would have loved to see was not being displayed. And this season so far, we have seen different changes, a little bit of changes, but the truth is, the ideology of the coach, took center stage. And some of the players have been able to adapt. Those who failed to adapt to the style in any way, they have been shipped out of the team. And there you have Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Garnacho, and some other players. So the current crop of players he has in the team are the players he feels like can work with him. And they have been getting results. I mean, the last 3 games, they have been able to churn out victories. And I don't think a victory against Nottingham Forest will elude them. So it should be a victory for Manchester United.
A victory for Manchester United. Let's talk about Spurs. They lost to Newcastle at the Carabao Cup, and that's going to be a shake-up for them. But coming to this game is London Derby against Chelsea, who picked up a victory against the Wolverhampton Wanderers. But discipline-wise, it's been a struggle, for Chelsea. And also, the last few games in the Premier League, a little bit of struggle for Enzo Maresca and the boys. What do you look at this game for Thomas Frank and also Enzo Maresca going in this one on Saturday?
I think Chelsea will struggle in the game against Spurs. It's a debut, and you expect it's always, no matter how poor the coaches or what the team looks like at that time when Tottenham and Chelsea are playing, it's always going to be a very big game. And it's I just feel like Chelsea will struggle against this team. If they could struggle that bad against Crystal Palace, with Spurs that plays almost the same kind of football, it's them on the counter when they are weak. Keep the ball sometimes and then lob the ball over the midfielders and get it to the strikers. This is the style of play at these teams. And Chelsea have struggled against teams that play this kind of football this season. So if what is on ground is to anything to judge about, the biggest result Chelsea will get in this will be a draw.
All right, let's talk about the dip in form coming through from Ancelot's side, the Liverpool against Aston Villa, who are on a surge of great form, back-to-back wins, for Unai Emery and the boys. Liverpool go to face Aston Villa. You wonder maybe Anfield still remains a fortress, but it's not looking like it at this point in time. But do you think, maybe, just maybe, these players can show character against Aston Villa?
Well, I think it's going to be a very difficult test for Liverpool. They have to turn things around. The coach knows this. He knows that, whatever it is he has done to this team that is that has caused this dip in form, or whatever it is the players are going through that has made the team perform so woefully in the last 5-6 games really has to be changed. Something has to be done about it. And he knows that his job is on the line. A team that won the league last season cannot be found in this kind of situation.
This kind of position, I agree.
But unfortunately, they are there. But I see them turning things around today against Aston Villa. Liverpool might just win this game. But it'll be so the biggest result, I mean, the lowest they can get in this game is a draw. Yeah.
And if this game goes south, is it ticking already for Ancelotti?
You know, the clock started ticking the moment he lost 2 games back to back, right? So the people are already looking in his direction. You know, sometimes when you are a coach and you are doing so well, people forget what you are doing. They just leave you there. Just keep doing your thing. And that's why we see some coaches, you know, staying for so long in a particular team because at least they know that the least performance you could get is probably finish 4th on the log. They know you are qualifying for the UEFA Champions League or something. For teams that are content on just qualifying for the Champions League, like Arsenal was back in the days, they really do not, you know, it's not really a serious problem if they don't win the league. But it's not like that for a team like Chelsea. That's why you see coaches coming in and getting asked at the end of the day. But for Arsenal, they were able to maintain a level of consistency, just qualify for the UEFA Champions League. That's a trophy on its own. And then whatever it is we make from there, I mean, that's enough. But for some teams, it might not really work that way. Look at Atletico Madrid since Diego Simeone came on board. You know, they have just left him to do his thing. You know, just finish in the Champions League places, we are okay. And then if you can do better, and then if you can win the league, well, fine. That will be an icing on the cake. And yeah, they have just left him there because what he has done for them, he has brought them stability that they lacked when before he came on board. At the point they were not qualifying for the UEFA Champions League, and then when they qualify, they get whitewashed, and then they get kicked out in group phase. So he has brought a level of consistency to that team. And some teams might just like the consistency and not titles, which Arsenal loved the other time. But for Liverpool, they might not really want that because they won the league last season. They won a few seasons before that. So they might want a level of consistency. Let's win more. They are competing with Manchester United in terms of how many titles they have won so far since the inception of the English Premier League. So it's going to be a difficult one, but I see them turning this around against Aston Villa.
All right, let's move away from the world of football. But look at this and make sure you have your predictions correctly and you stand to win something. The goal is Good Bag Friday right here on Dominion Sport or Dominion Television. So make sure you predict correctly and you stand a chance to win something on the show. Let's move away from that. Let's talk basketball as we wrap up the show. Yesterday was fantastic. Maximum result. Challenge on it against Orlando Magic. The game ended 123 to 107. We have Milwaukee Bucks against Golden State Warriors 120 to 110. We have Oklahoma City Thunders 127 to 108 to Washington Wizards, and we have San Antonio Spurs against Miami Heat. The game ended 107 to 101. Today, at the early hours of this morning, the NBA is a massive popping up. Indiana Pacers against Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers against Bolton Celtic. We have Cleveland Cavaliers against Toronto Raptors, Chicago Bulls against New York Knicks. We have Memphis Grizzlies against Los Angeles Lakers. We have Phoenix Suns against Utah Jazz. Portland Trail Blazers against Denver Nuggets. We have Los Angeles Clippers against New Orleans Pelicans. We have Milwaukee Bucks against Sacramento Kings. And we have Charlotte Hornets against Minnesota Timberwolves. Those are the games coming up in the early hours of this morning right there in the world of basketball. A big thank you to everyone that stayed connected to Dominion Television right here, Dominion Sport. Samson, thank you so much for joining us on the show
really nice
this wonderful Friday morning. All right, we say a big thank you to everyone that stayed connected to us in the month of October. The new month is upon us. We're going to see again on Monday. I wish you the very best. Enjoy your weekend. Make sure you're supporting Shooting Stars and make sure you enjoy your weekend supporting your football club. I'll see you on Monday. Stay blessed. Bye for now.